Every now and then, one of my kids walks into the kitchen and they say something like, "Dad, can we just have cake for breakfast?" And honestly, yeah, we can do that. Today we're making blueberry coffee cake. No eggs, no dairy, just warm, soft, not too sweet, yet a perfect, delectable dessert. I mean, breakfast. Here's what you're gonna need for breakfast. All-purpose flour, baking powder, plant yogurt, unrefined cane sugar, vegan butter, or you could use neutral oil, plant milk, vanilla extract, blueberries, fresh or some thawed frozen ones, salt, cinnamon, and a little bit of oil. We have a few parts to this cake and each one comes together pretty quickly. So first up, let's start with the streusel, AKA your crumble. So in a bowl, let's start with all-purpose flour, cane sugar, cinnamon, and a pinch of salt. And this bowl is way too large. I have no idea what I was thinking. So save yourself some trouble and use something a bit smaller. Once you get all those in there, whisk it up and then add the melted vegan butter. You know, I used to think that streusel and strudel was the same exact thing, just said different, you know, like tomato, or in my case, cucumber or cucumber. But wait a second, are they? Fold this together with a spatula until it becomes this thick, almost paste looking thing. From here, we're gonna pop this in the refrigerator to chill, just until we pull together our other ingredients. Letting this chill in the refrigerator, it's gonna help the vegan butter re-solidify. So when it bakes, we get those golden, crispy, I haven't had cake in a while, so I'm having a very hard time holding all this excitement in. Okay, so on to the next task, which is prepping our pan. So if you haven't already, preheat your oven to 375 Fahrenheit. Grab a springform pan with tall sides or a regular 8 or 9-inch cake pan. I wanted to show you briefly how I add parchment to the bottom of the pan and then oil the sides because we definitely don't want our cake left behind when we try to pull it out. I'm using a springform pan because I really want to get those like clean edges and, you know, a really nice release. But any pan with a, 2-inch side will definitely work for you. This thing gets fluffy, so you definitely want the side wall. All right, we're gonna start in this new large bowl with our wet ingredients. You want to whisk together plant-based yogurt, cane sugar, plant milk, the melted vegan butter, or neutral oil, and vanilla extract. I do want to note that you want your melted butter to be completely cooled. Making sure that butter isn't too hot is super important, or you risk it cooking your batter, and that's just going to be really sad for everybody. Next, let's add our dry ingredients. Into the bowl, you want to sift your all-purpose flour. This helps eliminate any clumps, which could cause dry spots in the batter. I also add in a pinch of nutmeg, which is completely optional, but it's one of my baking secrets. Shh, don't tell anybody. Right behind that is a pinch of salt, and finish this part off with some baking powder. Switching over from a whisk, we're gonna use a spatula to fold this all together. And hey, I used to overmix everything, and I mean like everything. Muffins, rubbery. Pancakes, they look like Frisbees or vinyl records that you could just literally put on the player. Don't laugh, it wasn't funny. Actually, it was hilarious. You could toss that thing in the air and you would have thought it was a tortilla flying. So today, actually I started this a long time ago, but I lived by the fold it, don't fight it rule. Bring this together until it's almost just combined, leaving about 3 to 4 more folds short of being completely done. Don't worry if you see a little bit of flour because we're about to fix that in our next step. So now add in your blueberries and gently fold those into the batter. Your batter should be looking thick here, and that's a good thing. That thickness, it's gonna help the blueberries become suspended throughout the cake instead of allowing them to just, sink straight to the bottom. All right, Now that we have our mixture, let's add it to the pan. Pour your batter into the springform pan. Shimmy the pan a few times to level out the batter. I like to do this dance with the pan until everything looks completely flat on the surface. Sprinkle a few blueberries on top. Then you're gonna bring your chilled streusel back into the action. You could use your hands or a fork to break up the streusel. I like to use my hands, just feels more controlled, rubbing it between my fingers as little pieces break off and scatter. We're gonna bake this for somewhere between 45 to 55 minutes, but please do not remove until a toothpick comes out clean. I know from experience, and by experience I mean impatience, that cutting into the cake too soon will turn into a hot mess. A tasty one, but 1000% a hot mess. Something like a crumble rather than a cake. So trust me, let it chill. I'd give it just about 20 to 30 minutes, allowing it to set. Once it's cool, we can remove it from the pan. I still take my time here because I'm feeling like it looks too good to mess up, but also too good to eat. Well, at least until my stomach growls. Do you see that thing? Warm, fluffy, sweet, crumbly vegan blueberry cake. Perfect with a hot drink or a cold one. Perfect for breakfast, even for dessert, or better yet, perfect just because. This full recipe can be found linked in the description, or you can head right over to my website, makeitdairyfree.com. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. I love you. Until next time, believe in good. Peace.